Hi and welcome at Atelier Mariekuniek, my channel where I share everything that keeps my creative mind, heart and hands busy. My name is Marieke, let's get started. Hello and thank you for stopping by. If you are new here, then I would give you a very warm welcome. If you are a returning viewer, then welcome back. In my channel I talk a lot about knitting, spinning. Every once in a while I talk about sewing, although this episode there will be no sewing, there will be stitching. I want to share some finished objects with you, and I want to share some information about a craft fair I visited and a craft club I visited. And I've been to a fair, so I bought a lot of stuff I would like to show you as well. So there's lots. If this is the first time you're here, I live in the Netherlands, so English isn't my mother tongue. So I speak a little bit of a Dutchy English. And if I am not considering what I'm saying, if I am started to ramble, then it might happen to have some Dutch word in between. So sorry for that. But 500 plus subscribers, that's where I'm at the moment, and I really would like to thank you so much for helping this happen. The fact is, I am already happy with everyone who replies to me, who subscribes to my channel, who give the episodes a thumbs up. So everything that helps to get me and my little channel more exposure. So really thank you so much for doing that. However, if you would like to support me a bit financially, so I can add some things to my equipment, for instance, to making this podcast a bit easier, then you are welcome to. I opened up a Ko-fi account to do so, but let me assure you, it is not necessary. I really enjoy your stay just the way it is as well. I make this podcast as part of my creative outlet, so that's the main reason why I make this podcast, not to make money or something else. It's a thing I do apart from my day-to-day job. So before I start with the knitting part of this podcast, I wanted to talk to you about a little bit about some presents I received and some meetups, because in November not last year, the year before, 2022, I had a swap going on this podcast. I wanted to swap 20 grams of sock yarn for a stitch marker I made from the glass beads I made myself. And one of the people who applied for the swap was Corrie. And Corrie is a Dutch girl. I make a podcast in Dutch as well as in English, and she is a follower of my Dutch podcast. And she sent me a whole bag of yarn instead of 20 grams. And so I was supposed to meet her back then, but due to all the circumstances I don't want to go into at this moment, that didn't happen. So she sent me the bag, and I sent back something because I found it to be too much for the thing I sent her. So and anyway, we wanted to meet because she is living in Haarlem and I live nearby Haarlem. And yeah, so last November, I believe, we talked about it, and we decided to meet up in a place in my old neighbourhood where I grew up. And that's some kind of community garden. It used to be a garden where where they how do you call it? They grew the trees and all the greenery for the city of Haarlem. But they don't do that anymore there, and so the greenhouses and the buildings have another purpose at the moment. And in one of the greenhouses they situated a lunchroom and some small sustainable shops. And that's the place where Corrie wanted to meet. And because there also every other Saturday there is a craft club, and the one who initiated, I don't know if that's the right word, who took the initiative to start the club is Meerte, and Meerte is the owner of yarnshop Plush. Here's her card. And this is the bag. She has a very small shop there, and I will show you a little bit of footage on the side of her shop. And she sells sustainable yarns, mostly from Kremke. And I will everything I talk about, by the way, I will put down links in the description box below. So I will also put a link there to not only Plush, but also to the website of Kremke Yarns, because that's a company that produces all kinds of sustainable yarns, and I'm pretty sure they will give all kinds of information on their website. I got this booklet I took with me from Meerte, from her shop. But yeah, so Corrie and we meeted up there, and it was a lovely afternoon, and we met a lot of other crafters, knitters and sewers, and well, wonderful people. But and Corrie, she gave me a beautiful present, because she gave me this beautiful green dith cloth. And because I really liked this, I wanted to knit some more. So I went to Meerte's shop and bought some yarn there. For instance, I bought this cotton to use for the dith cloth, but I also couldn't leave there without buying some sock yarns. So here are the sock yarns, and the sustainable part of this yarn, I believe, is the fact that the nylon used to string this yarn is made from old plastic bottles. So yeah, I believe that's why this particular yarn is sustainable. I believe the cotton is partly recycled cotton. So yeah. So that is something I wanted to share with you. And the other thing I wanted to share with you, I received in the beginning of this year, are these lovely little skeins of sock yarn, and those were sent to me again by Coraline, and Coraline is a follower of my Dutch podcast as well, and she already sent me during the swap some yarn during the swap, but she also decided she wanted to send me some this year as well. So thank you so much, Coraline, for sending me this. This is not. This all is not to say that you must send me presents, because, yeah, that's not why I make this podcast. I make this podcast solely so I can share my love of fiber arts with you, share my makes, and hope to inspire you. That's the main reason why I make this podcast. So yeah. And there is only one other thing I would like to share with you. I received as a present from my daughter during Christmas, and that's this lovely, beautiful cup. It's made by a potter here in Haarlem, and as you can see, it is beautiful. And the way she makes these cups is she uses old tablecloth, embroidered tablecloth, so she has her clay slabs, and she rolls the clay onto these old tablecloth, so you get an imprint of the cloth into the clay, and those slabs she uses to make these wonderful cups. And the potter, I don't know her real name. I will put it here, but her business name is Wow Ceramics, and she is situated in the city of Haarlem. And I'm so happy because the first time I saw these cups on Instagram, I was in love, and I said to myself, I want to have a cup like that. And now I have, because my daughter gifted it to me. So yeah, you can imagine the joy I had when I unpacked this beautiful cup. So that's what I wanted to share with you before I am going to talk about knitting, spinning and stitching. For my knitting part, I have some finished objects, and the first two I would like to share with you are these two. These are some headbands I knitted. One I used the Drops Nepal, the black one, and the other one, they are the same pattern. The other one I used the Untitled yarn combined with Kid Silk Haze from Rowan. This is the same yarn I also used for my Felix cardigan. The pattern I used for these two are the braided and cabled ear warmers, and I am blanking on the designer, so I will put the name below. By the way, everything I talk about in this episode, you will also find links to my Ravelry and to my Instagram and other website if that is something I talk about. And I leave all those, all the information in the description box below. And the other thing I finished is my ranunculus I am wearing. Here it is. As you can see, it's beautiful. I also will insert a picture from my colleague took from me last week, so you can see it in all its glory. Yeah, I am so happy with it. It's lovely to wear. I knitted it out of Untitled yarn combined with a normal yarn. I talked about it in depth in the episode from the last time, and all the information is in my Ravelry pattern page, so Other than the fact that I would like to say this combination is so beautiful and warm, and it's next to skin soft, because I only have a little camisole underneath and my arms are without something, and I really enjoy the way it looks. The color combination with the stripes from the Noro, that makes it so beautiful. So I'm very happy with it. I started a new project with Newton, and that's my peninsular vest, and that's a pattern by Albiona McLaughlin, and I will show you some of the Ravelry page from this pattern. I am using some beautiful yarn. It's a it's a green Nutiden, and let me get it out so I can show it properly. So it is this beautiful color, and this is exactly, I think you can see why I like Nutiden yarn so much. It is made from different colors of wool blended together, so there is so much depth into the yarn, and that's why I like it so much. It's also pretty soft, and but I'm combining it to give it a little bit more strength, because it's unspun yarn, so yeah, you can rip it out easily, although that doesn't happen to me very often while knitting. So, but I decided I wanted to combine it with this lovely yarn, and I hope, yeah, it's the Silky kit from Kremke in the color lot 060008. Yeah, it doesn't have a name, I believe, but this is the color, and it's a beautiful mossy green, and that's what I combine for my new project. So this is the result so far. Here it is. I really love the color combination, and as I mentioned before, I didn't knit a swatch, and here is where I'm at right now. As you can see, it's perfectly in line with the width is perfect for me. So yeah, I'm very lucky in that matter. But I think that's due to the fact I knitted with Nutiden and Kid Silk before, so I know a bit how the fabric will turn out. So this is my new project, and I really enjoy knitting on it, although it's not a knitting project I can knit on while doing other things. I have to be a bit present for this. So that is my project I'm working on for knitting. And I am looking around, but yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about knitwise. So let's move on to spinning. Spinning. Yeah, as I mentioned before, I went to a craft fair earlier this month, and normally I don't go to fairs, especially not those that are inside, because although I work at a school, I don't like crowds. I find them very tiring, and that's not the people it's the people, but the noise they make. That's what's bothering me mostly. So normally I don't go to fairs that much. But this time I decided I wanted to go because it has been a long time since I visited the last one, and I decided I wanted to be inspired and I wanted to see if there are new things I don't know about. And the other reason I wanted to go is because I wanted to buy some spinning fibers. I do have some spinning fibers from ENG, the supplier of Nutinin. They also have some spinning fibers I bought in the past. So I am working on spinning those, but I also like to spin with hand dyed fibers, because that's a whole different way of spinning. It's a whole different experience. I like and enjoy to play with colors. So that's why I also like to play with hand dyed fibers and spin them up. And I wanted to see. I have to say it differently. I myself have a Louet S10 spinning wheel, and that's with one pedal. And I wanted to see if there were spinning wheels on the fair as well, so I could try out how I would like to have a spinning wheel with two pedals. So you are pedaling like this, and I tried it out. I liked it very much, but buying a new spinning wheel was not on my list isn't on my list for the near future. I only wanted to experience it. I don't want to buy a new wheel. But I also like to spin with spindles. The reason I like to spin with spindles is the fact that I am producing some other yarn with my spindles than I am producing with my spinning wheel. On my spinning wheel, most of the time I spin a bit thicker, so I end up with a DK weight yarn. However, on my spindles, my spinning results are much thinner, so that can be a nice change as well. So here's one of my results I made with one of my spindles. As you can see, the threads are very thin, and it's kind of a lace weight. It will result in a kind of lace weight yarn, and that's what I like as well, because that I can combine with other yarns again. So yeah, that's one of the things I like about spindles. And I will show you one of my spindles I bought many years ago. It's this one. And as you can see, it's a gorgeous spindle, because that's also what I like about spindles, is they are so beautiful. They can be so beautiful. And this one also turns lovely. At this point, the yarn I am producing isn't very good, so you don't see the beauty exactly, but let me tell you, I can assure you this is a gorgeous spindle. Here it is. This one is made by, and I still have the card from it, so I can tell you, it's made in Vermont by Tom Diak, and it's hand turned by Tom Diak, and it's from diakcraft.com. And it's a 25 gram spindle. And here is the information. So yeah, this one I already used regularly. But there was another spindle on my wish list, and I didn't know I would be able to buy one on the craft farm, because I did not check who was selling on the website. However, when I saw this particular booth of Studio Spindle, and the owner of this studio is Brechtje Verhoef. Here's her card and the information. And she not only makes beautiful spindles, but she also sells beautiful fibers. Although I didn't buy fibers at her booth. But I did buy this gorgeous Turkish spindle. In Dutch it's called spindle. But this spindle I bought from her, and I was looking for spindles like this online, and I constantly came up at Etsy and in other shops online, but most of them were situated in the US. And so I never ordered one, because when I order in the US I need to pay a lot of the shipping cost is out of the roof, I think. And I also have to pay customs. So I will end up with a beautiful spindle, but it will be very, very expensive for me to buy. And this one wasn't cheap as well, but it's gorgeously made. It's beautiful soft, and it spins like a dream. And the reason why I so much wanted to have a Turkish spindle is because of this. Because when you are using dyed wool, hand-dyed fibers, then and you spin and you take a bit of notice how you are putting the yarn onto the bobbin, then you get these beautiful designs. And that's what makes this spinning so enjoyable for me. I can play with colors, I can see patterns. Yeah, that's what's the main reason, other than the fact that I produce a very thin yarn again, because here's the yarn, and you can see it's very, very thin. It's also very lovely to play with the colors. I also bought some spinning fibers, and I'm using the spinning fiber I am using for my spindle is Noob from Malabrigo. It's the colorway 886 Diana, and here it is, and you can see the beautiful colors that is inside this combed top. I also bought some other tops, and those are from Adrian Salome and Adrian Art. This is an old card. I already had some of her tops before, and she also got some beautiful colors. This is a top with all purples and reds and some oranges and blues, and it's a combination of merino, but there also in one of the parts also is some silk. So this side is roving, that is without silk, and this part is with silk, so you can make beautiful combinations. So I bought this one, and I also bought a yellow one to combine. I think I will combine them together, but I don't know for sure yet. But it's going into my stash because as I told you before, I'm still spinning with my nutiden, my eunerog wool. When I tried out a spindle, I received some wool to try it out from the booth, and that's Corriedale, and I really enjoyed spinning it. So I decided I wanted to have some Corriedale as well, and the only Corriedale I could find were bags, and they are in plastic, so excuse me for the crinkling. But it was carded and colored yarn. So here are the bags I bought. I bought a brown one, a green one, and a grayish blue. And I thought it was a beautiful color combination. So either I will spin it up separately and combine it knitting, or I might even start playing with it and combine the colors in the yarn. I don't know yet, but those are the fibers I bought. By the way, I told you I liked the color tops, but I also like to spin with unspun, how do you call it? Undyed yarns. For instance, I once bought a fleece from a flock here in my neighbourhood. There's a lady just about 500 meters from me, and she's got a flock of tessellaar, and she really produces beautiful fleeces as well. She keeps her flock especially for the yarn, or for the wool. So I remember that in the past at school they used her fleeces as well. So yeah, that's a raw fleece. So I had to clean it. I had to process the whole fleece before I could start the spinning process. But that's a thing I would really enjoy as well. And I also before had, and I will show you the result from that. I also once received a fleece when they were clearing out at school, because before the students also got some spinning lessons, but they don't do that anymore. But last year they wanted to clear out what they had from fleeces, the fleeces they had, and I received a very beautiful fleece. I didn't know which fleece it was, from which braid of sheep braid, but it produced a very beautiful and soft yarn. So this is what I spun up, and I showed it before, I think. But yeah, I cleaned it, I washed it, and then I spun it up. So that's what I like to do as well. So not only the commercial or the hand-dyed commercial fleeces or tops, but also the fleeces I clean myself. Last episode I shared with you my process of my stitch book, my new stitch book, and that's not something I am going to talk about in this episode, but I didn't share with you, and I'm going to fetch them, because I didn't share with you in the last episode the fact that I also received some beautiful pens from, I believe, my husband or my son. They are called friction pens. This is the way they look. I have several colors, and these pens I also use at school because you can write with them, but on the other end, when you make a mistake, you can use the other end, here it is, the tip, to remove what you wrote. In December, a student came to me. He wanted to make a copy on a specific place on the page, and I didn't know exactly how to put the paper inside the copy machine. So I used my pen to put a cross on the paper and a placement part, and we made a copy. And the thing the student wanted to have in a certain place was in a certain place, but I didn't see my cross and the placement thingies anymore. And that's because this pen, you can draw or write with it, and because the copy machine is warm, it disappeared. So I think that's the reason why you can erase something with from this pen, because when you erase, I think you make some warmth, and that's the reason why it disappears. So when I put the cross onto the paper and I copied it, the lamp would go, or it goes through the machine, and the machine is warm, so that's the reason why my cross disappeared. So yeah, long story short, I saw a lot of possibilities for using these pens, so I put them on my wish list, and as a result I received them as a Christmas present. And that resulted in a new project, because that meant I could draw onto fabric and erase it using my iron. So during my Christmas break, on January 1st, I couldn't sleep. Sometimes I'm not diagnosed, but I think I have ADD. And sometimes it means my head starts spinning with ideas, and I am thinking about all kinds of things, and that's the reason I can't go to sleep, because it keeps on going in my head. And normally when I have to go to work, I will stay in bed, because I think, well, then I do rest a little, and maybe I fall asleep while doing so. But because it was my my break, I didn't have to go anywhere the day after. So I went up to my studio, and I started a new project I was thinking about. I used some old bedcloth. I layered it double and used my sewing machine to stitch it on regular parts, and I cut them up in small fabric cards, the size of a playing card. The idea I have is to also think a bit about the day, and maybe come up with a word that specifics my feelings of the day, or what happened during the day. And I would note or write it down and or make a little drawing, use that on my fabric card and stitch it. So here's, for instance, the first one I made. It's called New, and it's of course for the new year and or the new project. And this is a little character I sometimes draw, little people like that. So I will share with you some of the cards I made so far. So the second day I date them all and I stitch them all. So sometimes I will draw everything I want to share for that day, and when I have a bit more time I will embroider it. But it doesn't mean I am embroidering a card every day, because I don't always have the time to do so. So yeah. So here is the second one. This is a house, because the second day I was a little bit tired because I didn't sleep, and I was awake very late, and I decided to make a card for that. And this is a second, the third one, and this is a very personal one, because last year on January the 3rd, my brother-in-law Ben, he died after a very short sick bed, and this is all about him. He was a teacher of geography. So that's the globe, and the globe is empty because we feel this earth is a little bit more empty with him not being there. So that's I am remembering Ben, and yeah, what I wrote down is saying that. This is another one. This is the day after. I made a podcast and I was editing it, and so I draw my threadless mouse, and I wrote down ripple delete, because when you are editing videos, sometimes you take out a small part and you can right click and you say ripple delete, and then everything that's behind it moves to the part where you've cut it the first time. So that is ripple delete, and I want to use that. This one is completely different, because the day after I went to town with my son, and we were going to do some shopping and decided to stay in town and eat a burger. So that's all about that. This one is all about the meeting up I told you before with Corey in the cafe in the craft club. So that's the knitting with a cup of coffee. Here is the one I made after that. It's about clearing out the house from all putting down all the Christmas decorations, so that's about that. And here is something I talked about earlier, because I finished my ranunculus, and this one I made from finishing up the ranunculus. And the ranunculus how do you call it? I needle felted up on the fabric, and I embroidered that. And here's another example, making a podcast, and I draw my camera, because as I can show you here in an example, here you can see my setup where I'm looking at right now. So yeah, my idea was to make one card for every day. And I started with January, and I wanted to see if it was something that would be possible for every day. And I already experienced that it's a lot of work. So not the drawing per se, but the stitching is a lot of work. So I'm not sure I will end up with a whole year of cards. But because I also don't know if thinking about my day and coming up with an image that represents the day is something that I will manage every day. So it might as well be that some days are more meaningful than others. Sometimes I will only draw something just for the fun of it, and sometimes it will represent some meaningful thinking of me. But the project is called overdacht, and overdacht is a Dutch word, and the way I write it is a combination of thinking and day. But the way you write down thinking is a bit similar as the word day, except for 2 letters. So you can see how I wrote it down on my on my Instagram, because I made a collection there. I try to add some of these, so I'm still coping with Instagram. It's not always so simple to all those social media things, especially on my age, I think. But yeah, I will find out, because that is something I always do. So yeah. Anyway, I really enjoyed this sharing my little project with you. I hope it will. I will stay on track, although I see some white. I have a place where I put them on, and I do see some white cards I have to fill in with something. But yeah, it is a fun project, and I will try to keep up with it. And that's why I wanted to share it with you. Then there is one last thing I would like to share about the stitching. Because when I was on the craftfair, as I told you, was a booth of Karen Fast. And Karen Fast is also a stitcher, and she makes these incredible scenes, I think you call it. Like this one, for instance. This is a card she shared with me. So here is some of her information. But she sells kits where you find a hoop and fabric and everything you need, and a booklet with the pattern to make, for instance, this one. And here's her card. Again, because I really enjoyed her work, and I wanted to share it with you, because yeah, I find it to be so original, and it's something that, as you might have imagined from what I showed you before, is near to my heart, the drawing and the stitching part. So yeah. So that's what I wanted to share with you from stitching. Okay, this is it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope I shared some things that inspired you as well to do some crafting. this is all from me, and I will end this podcast with some of the footage I took on the craft fair. But for now, I really would like to say thank you for watching. Please consider to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you will be notified whenever I upload a new content. For now, thank you so much. Give it a thumbs up if you want to, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks and bye.